A new bill in the Senate aimed at fighting the opioid epidemic will give new drug detection technology to local law enforcement officers. Senator Sherrod Brown in town today to discuss the details. And 2 News is getting answers on how the technology works. 128 people have overdosed and died in Montgomery County so far this year, according to new figures released by the Dayton Police Department. It's a figure that's lower than it was around this same time last year, says Police Chief Richard Beal.
And as it relates to the opioid epidemic, we have seen steep declines in overdose incidents and deaths related to that in the past year. This, however, does not mean that the risk of exposure to fentanyl or other similar lethal substances is moot.
Beal today teaming up with Senator Sherrod Brown to outline a bipartisan bill that will help local law enforcement officers better detect dangerous drugs. They say law enforcement officers on the front lines of the opioid epidemic are at risk of accidental overdoses.
In fact, recent drug seizures in the region underscore the ongoing threat of fentanyl and the emerging significant threat of methamphetamine.
The bipartisan bill, called the POWER Act, would give officers access to the same high-tech drug screening devices used by federal agents. The devices use laser technology to analyze and identify substances on the spot.
It can pick up a whole host of sites. It can pick up fentanyl, carfentanil, and also it can identify all kinds of substances. Some of them dangerous, some of them not.
The devices would be paid for by the Department of Justice. The POWER Act would establish a new grant program that would provide funding to law enforcement organizations to obtain them.
And we're concerned about police officers coming upon this, not knowing what a substance is, and getting more of these handheld devices, which is what our legislation would do. The POWER Act in the hands of police officers. They protect us. They go in when we run out of buildings, as all first responders do. It's up to us to do all we can do to make their jobs a little bit safer.
The POWER Act is co-sponsored by Senator Rob Portman. The screening devices are already in use by Customs and Border Protection agents. The president signed a similar bill to give the devices to federal officers earlier this year.